Hello, I'm Mrs. Arrowsmith, and this is AP US History. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I'm excited to work with your students this year. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen so we can take a look at what this part of the year looks like so far. So the day before school started, I sent the syllabus home with a signature page using the email blast in Infinite Campus. I don't know how well that worked, but I will go through this very, very quickly because many of you have probably already seen this. I've worked in the Heart District for, I think this is like year 31 now, but technically I've been in the Heart District since I was a kid at Sierra Vista in 1978. I've lived out here since 1977. In this history class, we are striving to create a community of learners who do all of these. You can pause this video at any time and watch that and take a look at the screens in a little bit more depth. But that's these are some of my goals this semester. We are going to definitely do periods 1 through 5, possibly period 6. We'll see if we move period 6. And it's not all of period 6, it's just one topic out of period 6. And if we move it to second semester, that's fine. We're going to do all kinds of historical thinking skills, sourcing, contextualization, change over time, and so on and so on. And we're looking at SAQs, short answer questions, LEQs, long essay questions, and DBQs, document-based questions, as long as stimulus-based multiple choice questions in preparation for the AP exam in May. The 4 C's have to do with the Common Core. CLIC has to do with the state history framework that was adopted in 2016. And then, of course, the Acorn book is where we find all of the AP US history standards. It includes themes, historical thinking skills, content topics, and then I've already told you about what will be on the exam in May. The grades are going to comprise a little bit of completion, but more so mastery of literacy skills, and they'll communicate these in a variety of ways. So Infinite Campus, you'll notice most of the items in Infinite Campus haven't been worked into their grade yet because we're still practicing. And I told the students that it's important to practice skills before we assess them. And so I'm going to put practice in Infinite Campus so you can see scores and things like that. But we won't start assessing until we've had plenty of practice. So almost everything I think in Infinite Campus is in there. Do not calculate in grade. And that's how it will look for a little while longer. Standard grading scale. There's a separate category called professionalism, which is 2 points for turning something in on time and complete, 0 for not. And those only apply to the week-long projects. We do check-ins every morning, and we post those in the chat, and students do those right when they arrive. But we also have other forms of check-in that will start if we go to blended learning later on, and I'm seeing students from afar. They'll be doing check-ins a little bit differently depending on what their status is. Every week we do a slow chat, and I'll show you how that looks in Google Classroom. So some of their grade is participation. Participation in class so far, whole class in terms of giving answers and asking questions has been really great. Lately, I think the students are really getting warmed up, so that's good. So again, it's a combination of completion and mastery and comprehension. So when we're in class, we do live instruction. We usually have some quiet time to work alone, to turn cameras off and just work alone for a little bit. If we don't, we have a stretch break in a longer lesson. There's frequently collaboration and interaction between students, and then always time for questions. We always pause for questions, and then some short assessments as we go along with assignments. So for attendance, students must be present and visible to be considered present, okay? Here's our netiquette, or what we expect in our virtual meetings. To be on time, which I know when we have these 5-minute passing periods, especially on Wednesdays, it's a little rough, so there's some grace there. The district has adopted the 10-minute passing period, which will be a lot better, but still, internet is, sketchy, unreliable in some places. There's device issues, so on time as much as you can. There's me waiting to let you in the room, so on time as best as possible. And remain for the entire period. Remain muted unless asking a question or giving a comment, and students just unmute themselves and ask questions and then give comments. Keeping the camera on during instruction really helps me read the room. I can see nods and smiles. I can see quizzical looks when I know I have to repeat something. So keeping the camera on during direct instruction is super helpful. When we step away to work alone for a little bit, I'll tell the students, you are welcome to turn your camera off. We'll come back in 20 minutes. And then 20 minutes later, I'll say, okay, let's all come back, and everyone turns their camera back on. And it's been working really well. Use the chat responsibly, and they have been. And following basic rules of consent. Don't record, photograph, or post content that features other people without their permission. And then be prepared, patient, and positive. And the students certainly have been all of that. Academic integrity still counts, and we talked a lot about the difference between collaboration and cheating and plagiarism and how to avoid it. And so those are some of the skills we'll be working on this semester. To me, most of what a lot of people think is cheating is just sloppy academic habits that historians sometimes fall into. So that's something we'll work on together. This is their textbook. They're using it here and there. They're not taking copious notes from their textbook. Rather, they have a targeted assignment with a specific page range that they're supposed to use. So a couple of times a week, you should see the students in their books. And sometimes we do something with our book during class. We have primary and secondary sources. So far, I've been handing all of these out electronically. I give them a link in the chat, and I post some of them in Google Classroom. I make these available during class because this isn't a completely online class, and so my intention is not to post a week's worth of work and have students do it whenever they want when we're together. I want to take them through things with direct instruction, so I'll put links in the chat and then follow up with Google Classroom. Again, Google Classroom is our platform. We're using Padlet, Pear Deck, Edpuzzle I haven't been happy with, so I don't know if I'm going to continue to use it, to be honest. We're YouTube a little bit, Flipgrid. We're going to get our course codes for AP and start using My AP Classroom, and then of course we signed up for Remind. Okay, roles and responsibilities for all of us. So I will design the lessons, deliver the lessons, communicate content, answer questions, and I'll do this both live and online. I will design the assessments, I'll provide feedback on the assessments, and I will answer questions about the assessments and content. I will evaluate work, and I will assign scores and grades. As parents, I need you guys to monitor and encourage students to contact me if they ever get stuck or need anything, and then communicate with me and the counselors if necessary. And students are going to show up, join in, ask questions, communicate, complete, try, and grow. Okay, so that's that. If you've seen this and turned it in, you're fine. And that means that Infinite Canvas email to you worked. I think there are plenty of people that it didn't work. So if you still need this, let me know. Here's our class website. So it's not super elaborate, and it's really not for the kids because we use Google Classroom. So here's your page. It's just a little bit about APUSH, some ideas on things you can ask your kids, and then the syllabus if you want to look at it again. Every week, the students get a checklist. It goes in as an assignment to remind them that it's there, and all they do is they drag the X's to the things that they've already done. That's it. And this is just a way to help them keep track of what we're doing. It's optional. If students turn this in on Friday and they haven't moved a single X, totally fine. It's just a tool. Here is the reading calendar. And let's see, August is done. Okay, so here's what the reading calendar looks like. On the right, it's got the topics that we're doing in the specific weeks. It's got the pages that they're reading, and then it's also got some optional pages for context. If we're going through something in class and they look back and go, I didn't quite get that, there are some pages for reference they can look at. Those are not mandatory. If there's something due, a project, or something we're working on in class, that's highlighted in there. So that's what the calendar looks like. Here's what Classroom looks like. In our stream, here's where I post the Zoom link every day, and I really post it like 5 minutes before class starts. And then the only thing in here is the link to the slow chat. I post it on Sunday, and they have to post something by Friday. And then we did our remind code, and the last slow chat is still on there. So the stream, there's not a lot in there. Classwork is where we keep everything. Now, the teacher screen looks different from the student screen, but I just wanted to show you. Apple means we do it in class together. House means they do it at home. That's all that is. And then that's really it. So if there are any questions that you have at all, larrowsmith@heartdistrict.org is how you can get a hold of me. And again, I'm really enjoying working with your students, even though it is in this new format. Thank you for everything you're doing to support your students and school.